When I was getting in drip infusion in the infusion hall, I suddenly heard the inner voice of the handsome guy across from me. Oh my God, isn't that the woman on Brother Anthony's phone wallpaper? If I call Brother Anthony right now, won't he come running? It's the middle of the night, and she's getting in drip infusion all alone. Won't Brother Anthony's heart ache to death? The hall was crowded, so I thought he was talking about someone else. But unexpectedly, the one he secretly took a photo of with his phone, was me? Sick and lonely, I sat there in the hospital with drip infusion, afraid to fall asleep while guarding the drip bottle. Just at that fragile moment, I again heard the handsome guy's thoughts. Oh my God, isn't that the woman on Brother Anthony's phone wallpaper? It's the middle of the night, and she's all alone getting in drip infusion. Won't Brother Anthony's heart ache? If I call him now, won't Brother Anthony come rushing over? The hall was packed, so I assumed he was talking about someone else. Like a bystander, I looked around. Yet to my surprise, the one he was secretly photographing was me. I began to wonder, was I just too sick and fragile, hallucinating voices because I craved company? But then, I clearly heard his inner voice again. Head lowered, he seemed to be typing a message. Brother Anthony, look who I just ran into at the hospital. Isn't she the woman on your wallpaper? She's sitting here all alone in the infusion hall, with no one by her side. How would I know what illness she has? All I know is, nobody is keeping her company. She looks so sleepy, almost dozing off again and again, only to jerk awake and check her drip infusion. Doesn't it break your heart? What? You're asking which hospital? Such important news doesn't come free. 3,000 yuan, transfer it now. Not a penny less, or I won't tell you. 3,000? That's robbery. I wanted to march over and demand, shouldn't half of that money be mine? A notification dinged. His money had arrived. The guy sat up straighter, more excited than before, and his inner voice rang out again. Wow, Brother Anthony, you're way too generous. Fine, I'll tell you right away. She's at the City People's Hospital, 2nd floor, adult infusion room. Hurry up, come now, I'll keep an eye on her for you. I almost wanted to go over and tell him, if you're going to keep an eye on me, how about you watch my drip infusion bottle instead? I was so tired, desperate for sleep, but afraid no one would call a nurse when the drip finished. What if the blood backed up, or air got in? That would be dangerous. Closing my eyes, I racked my brain but still couldn't figure it out. Which Brother Anthony was secretly in love with me? 20 minutes later, the door to the infusion hall suddenly opened. The man who walked in was dazzling, dressed in a black trench coat, his long legs immediately drew every eye. Beneath it, a white shirt outlined his lean waist, radiating pure tension and allure. But what shocked me most was his face, so familiar, so impossibly handsome. The pinnacle of beauty. Wasn't this Anthony Carter, my best friend's younger brother, who had immigrated abroad years ago? Old, buried memories suddenly surged back to attack me. 6 years ago, in the sweltering summer heat. A blackout swept through my neighborhood, leaving us to suffocate without air conditioning at night. I posted a complaint on social media. Without power, am I supposed to die of heat? My best friend, calling from overseas, told me to go stay at her place. After all, she was abroad, and the apartment at home sat empty anyway. I drove over in a hurry, turned on the air conditioning, sprawled across her bed, and quickly fell into a deep sleep. But in the middle of the night, I woke to find someone lying beside me. Startled, I switched on the light, and was met with a face so striking it was almost criminal. Broad chest, sculpted abs, those perfect V-lines. And his skin, so pale, so flawless, that just one glance could give me a nosebleed. His face was flushed red from alcohol, and no matter how I called, he wouldn't wake. Of course I recognized him instantly. My best friend's younger brother. Only 18 at the time, a boy still tender and fresh, yet beneath his clothes he was already so well-built, so intoxicating it was dangerous. The little brat must have passed out drunk. He collapsed onto the bed without realizing someone was already there. What now? It was only a one-bedroom apartment, no spare rooms. And the living room had no air conditioning. Give up the room to him? No way. I wanted to kick him onto the floor, but no matter how I tried, I couldn't move him. Eyes shut tight in frustration, I was seething when suddenly the brat rolled over. Warm lips, bold, domineering, tinged with the scent of alcohol. Crashed against mine without warning. I froze, mind utterly blank. Who would have thought? I was being kissed in the middle of the night, taken advantage of by my best friend's younger brother, 5 years my junior. I was about to shout and wake him up, but the moment I opened my mouth, his slippery lips pressed inside. My whole body went numb, blood rushing in reverse. Eyes flying open, I found myself staring at his tightly shut brows and lashes. Longer than mine, fanned out like the curve of an inverted crescent moon. His breath fell hot against my face, tingling, itching, making my heart tremble. Never in my life had I felt such violent emotions in a single minute. I should have been furious, but my heart raced uncontrollably. The drunk brat ravaged my mouth, while I, terrified, forgot how to react. My tongue darted, trying to escape his chase. But he wasn't in a hurry. When he couldn't catch me, he simply lingered, gently sucking at the corners of my mouth. The tip of his tongue brushed against my upper palate. And it was like being struck by electricity, waves surging through me, impossible to bear. A single insane thought flickered in my mind: this feels too good. Madness. My emotions crashed like a storm, thoughts in complete chaos. No matter how recklessly he trespassed, I couldn't let him continue. I had grown up never kissing anyone. Yet here I was, ensnared by this little brat, my best friend's brother, dizzy, torn between shame and temptation, utterly undone. I couldn't endure the softness of his lips. And yet, in the end, my tongue couldn't help but want to brush against his again. My heart was ready to leap out of my throat. I felt utterly deranged. In the still night, I burned with heat, drenched in sweat. Later, when I tried to recall it, everything was blurred, only that feverish, scorching sensation remained etched in memory. Eventually, the brat seemed satisfied with his reckless assault. He rolled over and fell into a deep sleep beside me. But my heart, waves upon waves, surging, restless, refused to calm. I lay awake the entire night. At dawn, before he sobered up, I fled in panic. If only it had ended with that one accident. But half a month later, my best friend suddenly called me. "Monica, when you stayed at my place last time, did you touch the surveillance system?" My mind buzzed. "You have surveillance cameras in your house?" She said, "Of course. I'm abroad, so the apartment in China is empty. I had to install cameras for safety. But today, on a whim, I checked the recordings. Every other day was normal, except the night you stayed over. That entire night's footage was deleted." A chill ran down my scalp. Could it have been her brother? Did he wake up the next day, check the cameras, discover what we had done, and then rush to destroy the evidence? My heart leapt into my throat. I had to ask for clarity. "You mean, you had cameras in every room?" She answered firmly, "Yes. Everywhere except the bathroom. And that night, every room's footage was wiped clean. I'm not blaming you. I just want to confirm. If it wasn't you, then maybe a hacker broke in and copied your sleeping video. That would be trouble." I jumped to my feet, horrified. Don't tell me her brother not only deleted it but also made a copy to keep for himself? I wanted to crawl into a hole and never come out. But I couldn't possibly let her confront her own brother. I had no way to explain, bitter silence swallowed me whole. So I fumbled for an excuse. Haha, yes, you caught me. It wasn't a hacker, it was me. I deleted it. I just didn't want you to see my elegant sleeping posture. She chuckled on the other end, half scolding me. As long as it wasn't a hacker, it's fine. Honestly, I was planning to delete it for you today anyway. No big deal. When I hung up, my nerves still hadn't settled. I was terrified her brother would come after me. But nothing happened. As time passed, I forced myself to forget that night. Only occasionally, when I saw a TV drama where the leads kissed, a rush of heat would crawl up my face, pulling me back to that indescribable night. Blushing, I would secretly recall the sweetness, then stop myself in shame. Now and then, during casual chats with my best friend, I'd hear about her brother's life. I always listened with careful interest, yet never dared to ask too much. Never did I imagine that after 6 years, I would meet him again in the infusion hall. Anthony Carter walked briskly toward me. No, to be exact, he was walking toward the guy across from me, as if he had only accidentally noticed me. His expression was startled, almost astonished. "Sister Monica, why are you here all alone for a drip infusion? Where do you feel unwell? Do you need a hand warmer?" Even as he spoke, he pulled one from his bag and placed it beneath my wrist. After an hour on the drip, my hand had long gone numb with cold. The sudden warmth was a lifesaver. He leaned lazily against the empty chair beside me, his side profile sharp and striking. I'd heard from my friend that he had graduated just last year, already stepping into the family business. In only a year, the projects he managed had doubled the company's profits. Her father praised him everywhere he went. Truly, a fearless young heir. His aura radiated strength, making my chest tingle with unease. And now, knowing this brat secretly liked me, everything I saw came with an added filter. I stared at him openly. To my surprise, his ears flushed red under my gaze. The black trench coat lent him a composed, aristocratic air. Yet his eyes betrayed the chaos within. "Sister Monica, is there something on my face?" I stifled a laugh and shook my head. "No. I just think it's such a coincidence." Across from me, the handsome guy feigned surprise and greeted me. "Haha, isn't it though? So this lady already knows Brother Anthony? I'm Edward, his friend. Sister, you look dead tired just now. If you really can't stay awake, why not sleep a little? Let Brother Anthony keep an eye on your drip infusion bottle. It was me who called him here." Who knew he'd run into an acquaintance in the infusion room? Anyway, whether he keeps one person company or two, it's all the same, right, Brother Anthony? Anthony nodded. Just a small favor. Sister Monica, you can sleep with ease. I sneezed, and at once Anthony slipped off his coat and draped it over me. Sister Monica, does this make you warmer? The lingering heat of his body clung to the fabric, dragging me back to that indescribable night 6 years ago. Too much. My heart was already stumbling out of rhythm. I squeezed my eyes shut, forcing myself to calm down. But my emotions refused to settle. Like a roller coaster, they surged and fell, impossible to control. Could it be true? That brat had liked me all this time? Just then, another wave of thoughts echoed from the guy across from us. Brother Anthony, what are you being so reserved for? Can't you see Sister Monica is dozing off without a pillow? Offer your shoulder for her to lean on. Who cares if she has a boyfriend? Why let someone else snatch her away? Love is always a fight, isn't it? So what if you're 5 years younger? If you don't pursue her, how will you ever know she doesn't like younger men? Proud, restrained, clingy, obsessive, what sister could resist such a younger brother? You need to be sweet with your words. For example, once her drip infusion is done, take the chance to send her home. Press her against the elevator wall and tell her, Sister, you're my ideal type. Sister, can't it be me? Sister, I only want to love you, I'm going crazy with it. Sister, I'll listen to you forever. Sister, can I be your private possession? Sister, can I break the rules and bully you? Sister, touch my abs. Good Lord, someone save me. I was exhausted, yet sleep refused to come. My mind was filled with the sound of Anthony pressing me against an elevator wall, whispering those words in a low, magnetic voice. Nothing had happened, and yet my head was already spinning, climaxing in imagination. I swallowed hard, heat curling in my stomach. A tiny, shameful anticipation crept in. What if Anthony really did press me against the elevator wall, lips close to my ear, murmuring those words in that husky baritone? Just how overwhelmed would I be? After all these years of being single, I could hardly handle the smallest provocation. I sneaked a glance from under my lashes. Only to find Anthony staring at my face, lost in thought. Something flickered in his eyes, tangled, conflicted. The moment he realized I was awake, he turned away faster than I did. But in the very next second, he leaned in, closing the distance, and offered his shoulder. Sister Monica, borrow my shoulder and sleep. Before I could refuse, his long arm had already reached over, gently guiding my drowsy head onto his shoulder, quick, decisive, and utterly matter-of-fact. When my sister gets drip infusions, she always leans on my shoulder. With me, you and my sister get the same treatment. Otherwise, if my sister finds out I ran into you at the hospital and didn't take good care of you, she'll never let me off. I tried my best to act calm and reserved. I'm really too sleepy, so I won't stand on ceremony. Thank you, Anthony. Anthony looked even more composed than I did. Just lending a hand, no big deal. I didn't come here to deliver you a pillow on purpose, we just happened to meet. I smiled without answering. If not for the handsome guy's inner monologue across from us, I might have believed this chance encounter. I closed my eyes and dozed against Anthony's shoulder, but it was a light sleep, any small noise in the infusion hall could wake me. The moment I opened my eyes, I saw his phone's lock screen. A photo of me. My head buzzed. No matter how I looked at it, that photo seemed like a screenshot from surveillance. Wasn't it from that summer night 6 years ago, of us lying on the same bed? Startled, I jerked upright. Anthony panicked even more than I did. He fumbled to turn the screen off, the tips of his ears reddening to the point of bleeding. He shot to his feet, all elegance and composure replaced by flustered urgency. Your drip infusion is almost finished, I'll go call the nurse. He didn't even realize that, in his nerves, he was walking with his arms and legs moving on the same side. Across from us, the guy had already raised a hand to cover his face. I heard his inner voice spiral into a frenzy. Brother Anthony, you're walking with the same arm and leg. What did you do to get so nervous? So embarrassing, is this the Brother Anthony I know? Where's that calm, ruthless poise you have in the boardroom? Help, Sister Monica looks like she's smiling. What if she's laughing at you? Brother Anthony, your wife is gone. I wanted to say, I'm not laughing at you. Seeing a 6'1" college boy so nervous he walks wrong, it's unexpectedly adorable. When Anthony came back, he'd already recovered his unhurried grace. As the nurse came to pull the needle, I instinctively flinched. And Anthony gently cupped my wrist. He knelt on one knee beside the chair, pressing the cotton ball over the needle mark with astonishing gentleness. Let me take you home, sister. I pointed at the handsome boy, Edward, sitting opposite. Don't you need to stay with your friend? Edward shook his head like a rattle drum. Sister Monica, don't worry about me. I'll probably be here till dawn. Let Brother Anthony take you home first. He's a rock-steady driver. Anthony already had a supportive hand at my shoulder. When I stood, my balance faltered. Luckily, his arms were broad and strong, and moved to shield me on instinct. Caught off guard, I fell into a solid chest. Even through his cashmere sweater, I could feel the firmness of his muscles. Careful, sister. I tried to pull away, but he crouched and hoisted me onto his back. Are your legs weak? I'll carry you, okay? Don't refuse, or my sister will scold me. I toppled onto that warm, broad back, and it was too late to protest. So I looped my arms around his neck and smiled. If you put it that way, Anthony, then I won't refuse. I wondered if my best friend had ever been carried like this by her own brother. As Anthony carried me downstairs, I could feel the heat along his nape rise, inch by inch, thrilling. Even more thrilling, he drove me home. When the car radio suddenly played First Love, his Adam's apple bobbed. Sister Monica, have you heard the Easter egg in this song? 7 seconds after the chorus ends, his voice paused deliberately. As he looked down, his lashes cast a small shadow beneath his eyes. The recording engineer intentionally left in the sound of a kiss, just like that night 6 years ago. My mind roared, alarms blared. So the brat was finally here to settle the score from 6 years ago? Sure enough, his eyes flushed at the corners as he murmured, it was my first love, too. God, nothing is worse than sudden silence. I squirmed in embarrassment, toes curling in my shoes, completely at a loss for what to say. Only when the car stopped beneath my apartment did I grit my teeth and ask, do you want hush money, Anthony? The air in the car seemed to congeal. His fingers tightened on the steering wheel until the knuckles went white. Then he leaned across me. The seat belt went taut with a snap, shoving my back against the seat. Hush money? His Adam's apple rolled, his nose nearly grazed my earlobe. How would you like to pay, sister? My breath went ragged, sweat pricked at my fingertips. By accident I glimpsed the faint tattoo at his collarbone, Moni. I stared. Is that my name? Got it last year in Tokyo, he said, eyes evasive. I heard you might fly there for a deal, so I held on to a 0.001% chance of running into you. I remembered that sudden downpour in Tokyo, and the boy in a bucket hat at a cafe in Ginza. Could it really have been this brat? Sister, do you have a boyfriend? He cupped the back of my neck, his nose brushed the curve of my lips. If not, would you accept me as your living hush money? The closeness was dizzying. How had the same kid who'd been so nervous he walked wrong become this bold? His damp breath skimmed my skin, sending tingles across my scalp. And I thought again of that night 6 years ago. Those warm, domineering lips, tainted with the scent of wine, the sudden crash of contact and the taste I couldn't forget. I almost closed my eyes and leaned in, ready to relive the recklessness of that night. Anthony, calm down. I was a coward. I flung open the door and fled. Only in the elevator going up did regret hit, a loop of reflection and replay. It wasn't right to abandon him like that. But I didn't have the courage to ride back down and face him again. Ding. A message popped up, someone wanted to add me on WeChat. The note on the friend request read, Sister, I'm sorry for scaring you just now. If you don't want this, pretend I didn't say anything. Don't worry, I won't bother you. I'll keep thinking of you quietly, like I always have. You're ill, rest early. Good night. I accepted the request and, after a moment's thought, sent him a message, I don't have a boyfriend. Anthony replied in a second, then, could it be me, sister? I didn't answer. I turned off my screen. I'd taken in too much tonight. I needed to breathe. The next morning, I had barely woken up when a message from Anthony popped up on my phone. Sister, I bought you yam porridge to warm your stomach. It's at your door. Still in slippers, I opened the door. Sure enough, a thermos sat on the floor. Inside was not only porridge but also other breakfast items, every one of them things I loved. On the bottom of the thermos, a sticky note had been pressed flat, the bold handwriting smudged by oil stains. Sister, you don't need to rush with your answer. But while you're considering, may I court you? I carried the thermos back inside. As I sipped the porridge, I sent him a WeChat, the porridge is delicious. Thank you, Anthony. He replied instantly, what would you like for lunch? I'll bring it to you. I smiled and typed back, so attentive. Anthony, because I want to become your private possession. Were all brats this straightforward now? I couldn't withstand this kind of enthusiasm. Yet strangely, I didn't dislike it at all. The corners of my mouth curved upward uncontrollably. I was doomed, my own heart was pounding wildly. At noon, Anthony appeared again with another thermos. This time he was dressed formally, exuding nobility in his suit, hair slightly windswept as though he had rushed over from a conference. A sleek business car was parked downstairs. He must have asked the nurse last night, because he knew I still needed drip infusion treatment. Sister, after you finish lunch, I'll take you to the hospital. I've arranged a ward for you. Don't refuse, the infusion hall is too noisy. it won't let you rest. I thought he meant a standard shared ward. But the room he'd arranged felt more like a business suite in a hotel. He sat beside me with his laptop, handling company affairs. Watching him work so intently was a feast for the eyes. That focus, that passion, it dimmed everything else in the room. Charm radiated off him in waves, hormones with nowhere to go but toward me. No wonder people said, a man at work is the best kind of beauty treatment. Lying on the hospital bed with the drip infusion, I secretly snapped a photo of him and stared at it in secret delight. Suddenly, my phone rang, shattering the quiet. Anthony, why is my best friend appearing in your video call? Edward just posted on his moments that he played matchmaker for you. I was wondering who you finally dared to pursue. I never imagined, you were chasing my best friend? My best friend's shriek pierced the ward. Stunned, I turned my head, and saw Anthony's blush spreading from the tips of his ears all the way down to his collarbone. But then he seized my hand, fingers interlocking with mine, and raised our clasped hands firmly toward the camera. It's not a fling, it's pursuit. I watched as my best friend's expression shattered from fury into shock. Monica, what's on your neck? Anthony, are you a dog? I was dumbstruck. What was on my neck? Quickly, I flipped my phone to selfie mode. And found a bright red mark there, like a tiny strawberry. It clicked. Earlier, I had felt itchy there and rubbed hard. My best friend misunderstood completely. I rushed to explain, Rachel, it's not what you think. Don't get the wrong idea. The truth is. But she cut me off. Anthony, tell me honestly, when did this start? The brat snuck a glance at me, struggling for words. 6 years ago. My heart thudded painfully. Damn it. Rachel's scream rang through the phone again. Say that again, how many years ago? Anthony's voice was low and husky, almost sinful. 6 years ago, I was drunk, and ended up in the same bed as Sister Monica. My brain nearly exploded. I lunged forward and slapped my hand over his mouth, forbidding him to go on. But Anthony pried my hand away, speaking with self-righteous conviction. Even if it was an accident, sister, you always taught me a man should be faithful. Chastity is a man's best dowry. Since I've already given mine to Sister Monica, this life I only want to be hers. What's wrong with that? Panic crashed through me, something clawing up my throat. On the other side of the call, Rachel looked even more speechless than I did. She stared blankly for a long moment before blurting out, so the deleted surveillance from 6 years ago, that was you? Wait, let me process. What on earth did you two do under surveillance? Was this even a topic for discussion? I hastily cut the call. Anthony's gaze darkened, his eyes filling with accusation. Sister Monica, are you not planning to take responsibility for me? The corners of his eyes flushed red as he pressed forward step by step. Are you going to wear your pants and deny it happened? God help me, his look filled me with unbearable guilt. I never said I wouldn't take responsibility. In the very next moment, his eyes lit up, bright and sharp. So, sister, does that mean you've agreed? Agreed to what? Was I being tricked? Swallowing nervously, I tried to calm him. Anthony, I'm 5 years older than you. Suddenly, my lips were sealed. At my ear came his desperate whisper, Sister Monica, do you dislike me for being younger? But I'm not small at all. I'm big. Please, don't dismiss me so easily. I was losing my mind. I knew he understood what I meant, yet he twisted it deliberately. He grabbed my hand, pressing it against the tattoo at his collarbone. Do you know what I told the tattoo artist when he asked who Moni was? I said, she's the bad sister who stole my adolescence. Only then did I notice the hair tie looped around his wrist. The exact same one I had lost 6 years ago in Japan. I stared at it, stunned. Could it really be mine? Anthony's ears flamed red. He scrambled to hide it. Sister, this is mine. I found it. I've kept it tied to my wrist for 6 years as a talisman. Don't take it back. I laughed awkwardly. It's worthless. 3 yuan apiece. Anthony's lips pressed tight, his eyes fixed stubbornly on the tie. No. To me, it's priceless. Whenever I missed you, touching it made things a little easier. My chest constricted violently. I see. Then keep it. Relief washed over him instantly. Knock, knock, knock. A knock came at the door. Come in. In a heartbeat, the brat shifted back into his role as domineering CEO, striding to the chair. His secretary entered, panting slightly, files in hand. Young President Carter, I wouldn't normally disturb you here at the hospital, but this document needs your signature urgently. Anthony's face turned impassive, the aura of authority returning in full force. He glanced over the file with cool detachment, picked up his pen, and signed with bold, sweeping strokes. So different from the way he spoke to me. The contrast was striking, so striking, it was beautiful. When the secretary finally left with the signed papers, the air in the ward thickened again. His previously cool eyes quickly shifted, burning, earnest. Sister Monica. He suddenly braced his arms on either side of the bed, trapping me in a space scented with cedar and his body heat. The surveillance from that night, 6 years ago. I clutched the sheets, nails nearly piercing my palms. The chaotic memories of that night resurfaced. His fevered lips, wild and relentless, devouring me. Sensing my tremble, he abruptly knelt on one knee beside the bed. From that upward angle, his tailored pants pulled taut, outlining his muscular thighs. These 6 years, I've honed myself into the sharpest blade. But whenever I hear your name, I turn back into that boy who woke up to the surveillance footage, flustered and helpless. Don't laugh at me. So he had noticed my thoughts. I shook my head quickly. No, I wasn't laughing. I like this side of you, the side you only show me. The brat's gaze flared again, scorching. Really? Then from now on, I'll only show it to you. He chuckled lowly, gripping my hand with insistence, his fingertip tracing lightly across my palm. As long as you don't push me away, I'll keep practicing how to be your loyal dog. Oh God, even if my best friend stormed back from abroad this very second, I wouldn't be able to resist the temptation of her brother. If her family's cabbage had grown this handsome, why couldn't it be mine to take? The day I finally recovered, rain poured down in torrents. Anthony escorted me to the parking lot, holding the umbrella so that not a drop fell on me, yet he was soaked through. His white t-shirt clung to his abs, his low-slung waistband revealed teasing glimpses of his V-lines. The sight was sinful. I forced myself to avert my gaze, only to hear his quiet laugh near my ear. Sister, your heart is beating so fast. The brat, did he get himself drenched on purpose? He suddenly leaned closer. Sister, I'll give you 30 seconds to push me away. I counted his thunderous heartbeats, and on the 29th second, hooked a finger into his belt. President Carter, have you never learned to round up? The world spun as he cupped the back of my head, kissing me deeply, intoxicatingly. Sister, can I finally, openly, be yours? Cradling his face, I struggled not to laugh. No. Not yet. You'll have to chase me for at least another 6 months. Anthony gritted his teeth, eyes fierce with determination. Then watch me. And I would. A younger man's pursuit was wild and unrestrained. His flirting was intoxicating, his kisses endlessly sweet. I pretended to stay calm, but inside I was overjoyed. Half a year later, one afternoon. My phone buzzed violently. 99+ messages from my best friend. Monica, you're finished. Anthony's computer password is Moni0613. His safe is full of photos stolen from your albums. And in the third shelf of his bookcase, wrapped inside the wealth of nations, is the video from your debate 2 years ago. Go see for yourself. Heart racing, I tiptoed into his study. On my toes, I pulled down the heavy economics book. A videotape slid out, wrapped in brown paper. Scrawled on the cover, October 23, 2023 debate, Monica, third speaker for the opposition. Suddenly, memory snapped into focus. It was the most humiliating debate I'd ever lost. By the end, half the audience had slipped away. But in the third row, a boy in a baseball cap had clapped for me until the last second. So it hadn't been my imagination. What are you looking at, sister? A warm chest pressed against my back. His nose brushed my ear. My phone buzzed again, more frantic texts from Rachel. Monica, you're really doomed. How did you end up with my crazy brother? His villa even has a locked room. I hacked the security system and saw. I didn't get to read further before Anthony swept me off my feet. His eyes were tinged with that familiar flush. Sister, don't listen to her nonsense. She doesn't want to get married herself, so she can't stand seeing us happy. Still, I asked, the locked room, where is it? Can I see? Anthony's face twisted with reluctance and nerves. But over the last 6 months, he had rarely refused me. No matter how difficult, if I asked, he would do it. After a long hesitation, he took my hand. Promise you won't laugh at me. I promise. The fingerprint lock beeped, and the room lit up, an entire wall of surveillance screens. July 13, 2020, 9:47 p.m., I crouched outside a convenience store, feeding stray cats. April 2, 2021, 3:13 p.m., I stood at the bus stop after work, waiting for the bus. December 31, 2023, 11:59 p.m., I was with colleagues, watching fireworks to ring in the new year. I froze. These are... Anthony tightened his arms around me from behind. Sister, satellite images. I didn't mean to track you. But sometimes, when I missed you too much, I couldn't help but look. I promise, I'm not a stalker. Believe me. One feed showed that sweltering summer night 6 years ago. For the first time, I saw what happened afterward. In the early morning, he had woken trembling, burying his face in the pillow where I had lain. Recalling the madness of the night, he sat up and whispered to himself, Sister Monica, I'm sorry. Don't worry, I'll take responsibility. Just, wait until I grow up, okay? To me, it had been only an accident. But to him, it had become a pit he'd sunk deeper and deeper into. Tears splashed onto the console before I realized it. How could I not be moved by such sincerity? I turned and wrapped my arms around his neck. The lost years spilled between our lips as he pressed me back against the glowing screens. At last, he whispered the words I had waited 6 years to hear, "Sister, I've grown up now. After half a year of proving myself, do you think I'm good enough? I want to be with you. I want it so badly I'm losing my mind." I nodded. Yes. His devotion was so exhilarating, it was impossible not to be swayed. My barren heart felt suddenly, completely filled. All I wanted was to hold him like this. To tangle, to surrender, to sink. This video is an original work of the YouTube channel Romance Grove and is published exclusively on this channel. Please don't re-upload or share it on other channels. Another half year passed, and at last, it was my wedding day with Anthony. Edward, one of the 10 groomsmen, came running over, laughing so hard he nearly fell over. "Ha ha ha, unbelievable, Brother Anthony is in the bathroom rehearsing his vows. He wasn't even this nervous giving a keynote speech at the Economic Summit. Sister Monica, how did you train Brother Anthony into such a pure, hopelessly in love battle god?" I wasn't about to admit that I was just as nervous. My best friend swept over in a mermaid gown, adjusting my veil with clenched teeth. "Monica, you've really made it. I treat you as my sister, and you've turned my brother into your child groom." Of course I knew she was teasing. "Weren't you the one who praised him last month for looking like a suit-wearing bandit with style?" At some point, Anthony slipped in. The brat's ears were flaming red, but he refused to back down. "Don't bully my wife." Edward, phone in hand, snapped photos like mad. "Brother Anthony, don't you dare walk down the aisle later with your arms and legs moving on the same side again." Anthony kicked at him. "Get lost." His gaze locked on me in the wedding dress, and it dragged me back to the day we tried gowns. That day, he had pinned me against the dressing room mirror, lips at my ear, whispering, "Sister, the way you look in white makes me want to commit a crime." Flustered, I turned my face away. When the wedding march began, Anthony took my hand, steady as ever. Before all our family and friends, he went down on one knee. "You always say I'm 5 years younger. But from the moment I saw you curled up in that hospital chair, fighting to stay awake under the drip infusion, I swore that no matter how you saw me, I would always step forward. I would never let you face that exhaustion alone again. Sister Monica, maybe that night was an accident, but to me, it was beautiful. That summer morning when I woke, I only wanted to weld myself into the rest of your life. For 7 years, I've practiced every moment how to kiss you. Can I finally prove myself today?" Edward started clapping first, leading the cheers. Even the officiant was laughing as he lifted the microphone. "Our groom can't wait any longer to kiss his bride. Bride, do we have your permission?" I shut my eyes, nerves and joy bubbling together, and nodded softly. "Yes." The next second, Anthony rose, cupped the back of my head, and kissed his bride in front of everyone. The passion of a younger husband, always so fierce, so irresistible. Every morning now begins with his smile, every night ends in his arms. The boy who once made my heart race has become the man I trust with my forever. With Anthony by my side, love feels simple, safe, and endlessly sweet, just where I've always belonged.